In 1906 Oklahoma, ruthless bounty hunter Ketchum and his men tracked down an outlaw's partner, torturing and killing him after forcing out information about the fugitive Curry. Not far away, widowed farmer Henry McCarty lives a quiet but guarded life with his rebellious teenage son Wyatt, whose frustration with their humble existence keeps growing. One evening, their routine is interrupted when a riderless horse with a blood-soaked saddle wanders onto their farm. Henry follows the trail and discovers the wounded outlaw Curry barely alive with a bullet in his chest, along with a satchel full of cash and a gun that hint at deadly trouble. Realizing dangerous men could soon follow, Henry initially decides to leave Curry to die, but guilt changes his mind. Using surprising skill, he hides the outlaw's tracks, takes the money and weapon, and secretly brings the injured man back to his farm. Back at the farm, Henry and Wyatt struggle to keep the wounded Curry alive while tension between father and son continues to grow. Wyatt notices scars on Henry's body similar to those of hardened outlaws, but Henry refuses to explain his mysterious past. The next morning, realizing Curry will die unless the bullet is removed, Henry ties him to the bed and heads into town for a doctor. On the road, he spots Ketchum and his men tracking Curry, and quickly realizes they are getting dangerously close after hearing them praise the skill of whoever covered the outlaw's tracks. While Henry is away, Wyatt secretly searches his father's belongings and discovers a hidden gun, cash, and newspaper clippings about the infamous gunslinger Billy the Kid, hinting that Henry may not be the simple farmer he pretends to be. Wyatt sneaks outside to practice shooting, but the gunshots wake Curry, who quietly frees himself and attacks Wyatt with a knife, demanding his stolen satchel. Just as Wyatt is about to be killed, Henry storms in, overpowers Curry, and prepares to execute him himself, only to hesitate when Wyatt stops. Later that night, Henry painfully digs the bullet out of Curry's chest while pressuring him for the truth. Desperate and terrified, Curry finally admits that he is actually a sheriff and warns Henry that deadly men are closing in fast, urging him to grab Wyatt and run before it is too late. But before they can act, Ketchum and his men arrive outside the farm. As Henry checks Curry's pistol, he realizes someone has been using it and immediately suspects Wyatt has been snooping through his belongings again. Keeping calm, Henry steps outside to face Ketchum, who introduces himself and his companions as lawmen hunting a dangerous criminal pretending to be a sheriff. Although Henry denies ever seeing Curry, Ketchum becomes suspicious after hearing the name McCarty, connecting it to rumors about an infamous outlaw from years earlier who was believed to be dead. Ketchum quietly wonders if Henry could somehow be linked to the legendary Billy the Kid, whose real surname was McCarty. Henry coolly dismisses the connection and insists he knows nothing, but the tension between the two men makes it clear neither fully trusts the other. Before leaving, Ketchum ominously advises Henry to lock his doors that night. Once back inside, Henry's frustration explodes when he confronts Wyatt for firing the hidden pistol. Wyatt confesses he only wanted to feel what it was like to shoot a gun because every other boy knew how except him. Furious and fearful, Henry strikes his son repeatedly, but the punishment only unleashes years of resentment from Wyatt, who cruelly calls his father a worthless old man with nothing but a dying farm and a son eager to leave him behind. The words cut deeply, revealing just how broken the bond between father and son has become. After the confrontation, Henry learns the truth from Curry. He is the real sheriff, while Ketchum and his men are bank robbers who murdered lawmen and stole their badges. Curry escaped with the stolen money, making him their target. Realizing Ketchum will inevitably return, Henry prepares for trouble. Meanwhile, Ketchum's gang debates their next move, with Duncan wanting to kill Henry immediately. But Ketchum hesitates, sensing Henry is far more dangerous than an ordinary farmer because of the way he handles himself and a gun. Expecting a deadly fight, the gang decides to recruit more gunmen before attacking again. While Ketchum's gang prepares for another attack, Duncan stays behind to watch the farmhouse. Inside, Henry questions Curry further, and after hearing a detailed story about Billy the Kid, he finally believes Curry is truly a sheriff. Testing his character, Henry leaves a gun within reach, but Curry refuses to take it. Before they can escape, Duncan attacks the house, triggering a violent shootout that leaves Wyatt wounded and Curry shot in the leg. Henry cleverly outsmarts Duncan by luring him from beneath the house, shooting him in the leg, and capturing him. When Duncan refuses to cooperate, Henry brutally snaps his neck and feeds his body to the pigs. Subscribe before watching ahead. That night, while treating Wyatt's injury, Henry is pressured once again to reveal his mysterious past, but he refuses to answer. Meanwhile, Curry suffers nightmares about Billy the Kid's death, hinting at painful memories from his outlaw days. As Henry keeps watch outside, Ketchum and Stillwell visit Al, Henry's brother-in-law, violently interrogating him for information about Henry. The next morning, Henry prepares to flee with Wyatt, but Curry insists on staying behind to face the gang himself. Wyatt refuses to abandon him, creating more tension with his father. Before they can escape, Ketchum and his men appear near the farm, forcing Henry to make a desperate decision. As Ketchum's gang closes in, Henry realizes there is no escape and prepares for a final fight, arming himself and giving Wyatt a pistol. Outside, Ketchum admits he was never a sheriff and kills Al after he warns the gang about the danger they are facing. Wyatt rushes into the gunfight in anger, but Henry pulls him back and repeats the same words once spoken by Billy the Kid, causing Curry to finally realize Henry's true identity. He finally understands that the quiet farmer Henry McCarty is actually Billy the Kid, who faked his death years earlier and disappeared from history. Pretending to surrender, Henry suddenly draws his pistol and shoots Ketchum in the neck. Henry unleashes his deadly gunfighting skills, wiping out nearly all of Ketchum's men in a brutal battle around the farmhouse. He ambushes attackers at the back door with guns, knives, and even an axe, leaving only Stillwell alive. Although Henry is ready to spare him, Stillwell makes one last move and is shot dead. But the fight is not over, as Ketchum suddenly opens fire from behind the pig pen, wounding Henry in the shoulder. The two men stumble into the woods, exchanging shots from behind trees until Henry finally hits Ketchum. After Ketchum runs out of bullets, Henry calmly walks up and finishes him off before returning home wounded, where he immediately tends to Curry instead of himself. While treating Curry's wounds, Henry notices the same gang mark he saw on Duncan, realizing Curry was part of Ketchum's crew all along. Curry suddenly shoots Henry in the chest and confesses that he and his fellow lawmen planned to betray Ketchum and escape with the stolen money before things went wrong. Just as Curry is about to kill Henry, Wyatt blasts him with a shotgun and rushes to his dying father's side. Knowing he will not survive, Henry finally opens up to Wyatt, admitting that stories about his violent past will soon spread and that he no longer knows who he truly was. He tells Wyatt to leave the farm behind and experience the changing world for himself. After burying Henry beside his wife, Wyatt takes the stolen money and rides north to begin a new life. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to share this video with your friends.